Hello. So today I thought I would continue on words that are confused. So today this word is peak or peak or peak. So they're all spelled differently, but they're said the exact same way, and they all mean something differently. And so this is a good rule for ASL is they all have a different sign because it's a different concept. In SEE sign language, they use like if it sounds alike and if it spelled the same, then you sign it the same, which is it should be, if it's a different concept, it should have a different sign. Okay, so peak, P-I-Q-U-E, is if you piqued someone's interest or you're interested in something. So that's when you would really use I'm curious, where you take your F hand shape and you kind of like grab your neck and go around. But most people don't grab their neck and go around. I did that so you can see it. But it's like, oh, I'm curious. I have a question. Or it's more of a curious, right? So you piqued your interest. I'm curious, blah, 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 about whatever. And then the next one is peak. Oh, if you want to peek, like if you got a gift and I'm going to kind of peek, or in a room they said don't look in there, but I'm going to peek. So you have something. This is around the corner, but I'm going to peek, or I'm going to peek. I'm going to peek, right? It's that curious. It's like, oh, I'm going to peek. I'm going to look, or it's around the corner. I'm going to make sure it's a sneaky looking. I'm going to peek inside and see what's up, right? Or what is that in the box? I'm going to peek, right? You're going to peek. So, and then peak, P-E-A-K, is like the peak of a top of something. Like there's a mountain and the top. This is top. So, so that's going to be the peak of a mountain or a hill or a building or whatever. It's the top. So you could say mountain peak or building peak. Normally we don't say that. We say the top of a building. But we usually, for a mountain, we'll say a peak. And what are the things that, but if you like, I've reached the peak of it's a top of something, right? But we say it like in a mountain, but some people will say, that's the peak of my career, the peak of that particular activity I was doing. So it's the top. So the peak, I'm piquing my interest. F, and kind of goes, it's like you have grabbed your neck and gone around. Pique your interest. I'm curious. Peak, like I'm going to peek, or I'm going to peek, or I'm going to peek. You can do it a different way. It depends on what you're peeking for, right? Am I peeking around the corner? I'm going to peek. I'm going to eye it. This is to eye something, like notice or eye something. I'm going to peek, or I eyed it. This is around the corner. I'm going to open a box and peek. So there's different ways to do peek, but it's the concept, right? You're sneaking a look, right? And then the third one is the top of. So you can say mountain, peak. They arrived. They reached the peak of the mountain. Or my career peak arrived, or peak finish, right? I've reached the top of my career. So I'm going downhill now, right? Or my health is, at its peak now, right? It's at the top. It's at the best. So you could do it different ways. But when you hear those words or you think those words, those are the signs that you would use. And then people understand all that. You don't have to worry about how it's spelled or whatever. It's the concept. Oh, that box. What is that? Whose name? I'm going to peek. I'm going to eye it. I'm going to peek. You can either look, but you need to have that really sneaky look on your face, or I'm going to eye it, or it's around the corner. I'm going to look at that in the door and around the corner. I'm going to go look and see what's up, right? So you have a peek of look, or the top of something. It's the top. I've reached the top. So sometimes if someone says, it's been the peak of my career, top, you know, my achievement. You know, sometimes people, movie stars, will say that about the peak of their careers, the peak. I always do it that way just because it's a little bit of a flair. You don't have to, but because peak means top, right? I do it at angle, but you can do it at top. It just takes more effort, and you've moved your wrists now. And so you have that repeated wrist, it's going to damage it, so you want something that feels more natural. See? So it's not going to show any different. Anyway, this is a short video, but enjoy and practice it with your friends, hearing and deaf, and then see what else that you can kind of think of. All right. Have a good day, and I'll see you later. Bye.